to your hotel tonight. Cause I can't get you off my mind. Can't get you off my mind. We can cut it with a knife. I know it's more than just a friendship. I can, it only be a couple hours. I'm about to get to you. Got plans tonight.
Afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Alfred Budi. This is Chandra. That's Ken, and that's Andrew. And we're here with our advisor, Mr. Victor, up there, and we're Team Half Ice from Indonesia. So the problem is that in a non-emergency situation, choosing the best hospital in an area can be very complicated. And so why does this problem need to be fixed? So first of all, is that of course everyone wants the best healthcare for themselves or those around them. And then next is that we want to prevent unnecessary hospital readmissions. And then we want to, of course, area. And how we solve it is we create two models with different factors. The first one is only using the mortality rate as the sole factor, and the second one is we use a lot.
We take two other factors to be paid attention. The first one is the fatality rate of these diseases, because we know that not all of the diseases are curable, or the curability of these diseases is different. And then in hospital, because a sole percentage of this, right? So if you take into account the total number of patients, you get mathematical formulations for our first model. As you can see from the equations, the first part of it shows the in the first part we compare the average mortality rate of the disease all of the hospitals, and we compare it to the particular mortality rate of a hospital. And then in the later part, we take into account the effects of the total number of patients. And then this is the result from the first model. In general, when we see the result, we notice that there is no clear that we do not also the model do not also take into account the specialty of the hospital. Let's say, for example, there's a hospital that focuses on heart surgery, or lots of sources of data that are incomplete or inviolable. So when we use that data, some hospitals might jump from like the bottom rank to the top rank or otherwise. So we are not ensured that the hospital is really the best hospital or not. Therefore, we decided to go into the next model, which is the various variable model. Now, in this model, we take into account seven variables. The first one is the mortality rate, same as before. The second and the third one is focusing more on the interactions between the patient and hospital. The fourth and the fifth one is about the complications that might happen during the treatment. And then the sixth and seventh one is actually a more minor factor here, which is the sophistications of the hospitals and of course the cost. Method to decide the importance of each factors. And we know that it might be very subjective to every person, whether you want to calculate the cost first or you want to calculate the healthcare first. So we try to weight the factors based on personal views. And this is, as you can see, the result of the weighting method. Starting from the most important, which is the care process, and then the next one is the mortality rate, and so on and so forth. Now, for the next model, we tested with the same data as before, which is the hospital data from New Jersey. Three factors, which is the care process, mortality rate, and patient safety. Now, the first one is, this is the mathematical formulation. The first one is the care process. Right here, basically, we compare its hospital's percentage of mortality to the average of the whole hospital in New Jersey. And then the next one is the mortality rate. This one is pretty much the same with the previous model, but as you can see, there's a quarter factor there, which is resulted from the number of diseases, the number of mortality rate, the number of overall. So right here you can see there's a patient safety frequency. So it's like the data shows us how many times does an an unwanted incident happens, it's each vector's index with their weight multiplier and then add the three. And therefore, we obtain the final result for our various variables.
We want to compare both of these. So the first one is the Hackensack Hospital. As you can see on the R model, it's on the second rank, and on the government provided rank, it's on the first place. And then for the Atlanticare, it has the same rank on both our model and the government provided one. And just to ensure, the Englewood Hospital is on the 18th rank, and when the government provided rank is in the 12th position. And the one is that our model emphasizes more on the overall healthcare process. And secondly is that it has consideration towards each hospital's ability for specific tasks. So for example, if a hospital has a specialization in a certain disease, if it brings negative points or data with it, so it is not punished as much as the general hospital. And thirdly is that it has the capability of constant adaptation to the data changes that may occur to the hospital. So for example, if a hospital has a better performance or a worse performance, it will directly lead to the ranks getting higher or lower. And then lastly is that it also has consideration towards the economic strength of the patients. So the weaknesses are, firstly, is that our model relies heavily on availability of the data, which means it does not work. Patients after treatment are calculated in. So for example, if a patient may result in death after the treatment, it is not calculated in the mortality rate. And lastly is that it does not rank the real-time hospital quality because the data only changes periodically, which is in month time or a year time. So in conclusion is that the hospital's quality and performance are affected by a lot of factors, and by weighting these factors according to their significance.